Hola Madridistas, welcome to the first episode of this season's La Liga previews. And man, it's been a while, right? We had the like a lot of content for the preseason, and now the season's finally here. We did the season preview and all of the predictions just this week, and things have certainly changed for us in terms of the outlook for the season. Maybe a little bit, Farooq. How are you feeling though?
It's promising to be a very interesting season. A very interesting. When I mean interesting, it's potential to be a negatively interesting season in that sense. Because of uh, how will I put it? As you said, like the uncertainties that are surrounding, and we wake up to the news that Thibaut got injured, and the ACL and what is now is most likely out for the season or the year. I don't even know. So yeah, as you said, it's looking very bleak right now. The season preview, it was just 2 3 days back, and a lot of things have changed in just the space of 48 to 36 hours.
Yeah, man, you pretty much summed it up. With regards to injuries, with regards to the Mbappe situation, we were all a bit more hopeful in the season predictions, but then, yeah, right now we have Courtois, Mendy, Arda Güler, and Ceballos injured. The Ceballos injury is just a niggle, so it's just a hamstring issue that he has. Arda Güler, he undergoes operation today, so we don't know how
Yeah.
that will turn out. Mendy is out, I guess, out for like a couple of months or a month at least. And yeah, just four players injured, and
Mendy
that
is out for a couple of months, right?
yeah, for a couple of months. Not sure if they look to rush him
Yeah.
back
So
in.
like
Yeah,
mm, so Garcia is getting the start again ahead.
definitely, man. I don't think it's going to be Camavinga at left back at least. But yeah, that's how it's looking right now. Yeah, I mean, before we get right into
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
get into the news about who we're going to sign to replace Courtois. I'll just go with the comments. Glad to see all of you guys are still here. Some things, never change across seasons. We all have our loyal viewers. So Dipesh Patel says he's devastated about the news concerning Courtois. Yeah, it's been a horrible day. And Metro TV says, get well soon, Courtois. We're gonna miss you. Hassan has a different outlook, so he says, Segunda, we are coming. And David De Gea at Real Madrid, Club de Football. I feel sick to my stomach. I mean, yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. But then, I don't think like it's as dire of a situation. He's just gonna be here for a season, and even if he doesn't work out, we have a decent enough keeper in the form of Lonin who can handle most situations.
But the point is, I can understand, the because he's a United player and a United legend and all what is and what is not. But come on, guys. We're talking about David De Gea. Yeah, he won the Golden Glove in the Premier League last season. Like he's a shitty goalkeeper when he comes in, build up play, playing out of the back. But the point is, come on, guys. We have a coach named Carlo Ancelotti. When is he going to ask his goalkeeper to play out of the back? His goalkeeper has one job and just is to be Superman and save shots. That's just what he has to do. And if there's anything like we cannot fault about David De Gea is the fact that he will actually save shots. It's actually the team goals that he concedes. Actually, that's the one downside I would say about David De Gea is that he concedes the team goals. But like other than that, I would say overall like because anything we get as a replacement for Tivo is going to be a downgrade. Anything you get is going to be a downgrade. So the point is you're downgrading already. So, I don't think on this market we can do any better than David De Gea unless you're willing to spend crazy money on goalkeepers.
That's true, man. But David De Gea is not the only name that I've seen out there. So right now I've got a list. Maybe you just say who's your preferred signing if it's still De Gea. So from the list is Yasin Bono, Kepa, who is also linked with Bayern, Keylor Navas, or just keep loaning.
Actually, I will lean towards Kilo Navas the most because like he has been at the club, he knows a lot of these players that are there right now, so it's going to be an easy slot back in for him, at least I think. Like because of he knows the things and it's easier, like when you have people, someone who knows like the familiar surrounding, honestly.
Right. But have you seen him play in his last season? Is he finished, or how does he look like, Keylor Navas? Is he still the player that he
He
was
played
maybe
for
5 years back?
half of a season. No, obviously not, but he played for half a season in England, for Nottingham Forest, and honestly, like I think he did a good job. Obviously, like it was a collective effort from Nottingham to, avoid relegation, but I think like he did a really good job. And like I can't recall, but I think it was a game against United where he pulled all stoppers, either United or Arsenal. I'm not sure, but there was a game that it was like almost Prime Kilo was back as well. So because of that, like I think. Yeah, obviously, like fighting relegation with Nottingham and competing in the Champions League and La Liga with Real Madrid are two different, ball games. But that's honestly for me is going to be my first option. If you ask me for a second, I will actually say like Kalo and then Bono and then De Gea as a third option. Honestly, because I feel like Bono also deserves that chance. I mean, we've seen easier weeks at the World Cup, so I think he deserves that chance. To be on the world stage. Honestly, and he being from Morocco and from North Africa as well, at least plays a bit of role in my bias as well towards Yassine Bono, honestly. But if you ask me personally who is the best among all of this, I will tell you it's David De Gea, honestly. But I believe that Kilo can do a job, so that's why I say like I think David De Gea is the best. I mean, I think David De Gea is the best shot stopper, pure shot stopper among all this. I do believe David De Gea is the best. Honestly, I mean, the point is, I don't know how much people have seen De Gea or they haven't seen De Gea. Like all the bullshit that people talk about De Gea is all about build up play, passing from the back, and this is a shit that people keep talking about. Honestly, because even when you check the games that people complain about, you might go, to some games, and obviously, like there's also the lapse in concentration with him is getting more and more frequent. Honestly, but I think when you ask for a shot stopper, pure shot stopper, I think. David De Gea is the best among this group. But who I want to come back, I would say Keylor Navas should be in goal.
Sorry, yeah, let me repeat that. So he says David De Gea, Mr. Oatmeal risk saving shots. How far up you don't know. So does he mean like he makes a lot of these mistakes when he tries to save shots as well, or is it just things he just brings upon himself while playing out from the back?
No, actually, so the thing is this, like, as I said, like David De Gea has more lapse in concentrations, compared to when he was much younger. Like that lapse in concentration has become more frequent with him. So I guess maybe that's what he's thinking about, like the fact that, uh some shots go through his palms. I guess that's where he talked about the oatmeal thing or something like that. While I can agree with that, I'm not denying that, but the point is, honestly, jokes aside, David De Gea is a good goalkeeper. Obviously, as I said, he's not Thibaut level. Anything we have away from Thibaut is a downgrade. But in the list you gave me of Bono, Thibaut, Bono, Kelo,
Killing him.
and David De Gea, and then Lunin, honestly, I think David De Gea is the best among this group, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, that's a fair shout. I haven't watched enough of De Gea to comment, but then I believe you. And a short stopper is exactly what we need. We don't need someone who can play intricate passes around our defensive midfield. All right. Now that we've addressed the goalkeeper situation, the other elephant in the room is Mr. Kylian Mbappe. So apparently, what he said to PSG after they sent the latest the set of renewal contracts is that no matter what, he will be staying at PSG. And it doesn't matter if he's not going to play in the league or whatnot. He's happy to be in the reserves and just leave on a free next season.
Yeah, I mean that's that. I mean he has a contract and he said it openly, like even at the beginning of June, I think, or at the end of May. I can't recall when it was. He gave two interviews, and in both interviews he said like, he's not gonna leave, he's gonna stay, till he's gonna honor his contract till the end of the duration contract and what is and what is not. So I mean that's nothing new, and also based on what I was what at least we've read so far, like also like the Real Madrid camp also have said that there haven't been any indication from the Kylian Mbappe camp that there is a possibility of a chance for making something happen. Hence the reason why there's been no official bid from Real Madrid as well. So this is the thing, and I mean the point is Kylian Mbappe literally has nothing to lose, because I don't know if people are aware, but there is a law in France that stipulates that you cannot separate, first team players from. Okay, you cannot play them in matches, fine, but like they have to train with the first team players, starting from September 2nd, because as we know, the transfer window closed on the 1st of September. So from the 2nd of September, like you have to reintegrate these guys into the team. So the point is, as long as the guy is training, keeping fit at the highest quality with his teammates, he's gonna sit on the bench and next summer earn 120, 140 million euros as a signing bonus from Real Madrid, and it's for him, it's just a win-win eventually. I mean, it's Paris' problem. I can understand, from when you look at it from a different perspective, like it's a very, very, shitty thing to do on one hand. But the point is, they gave him this much power. Like he has a contract that is literally signed in blood, so he has all the leverage in the world. Whatever they want to do, let them do. That's their problem.
Uh, For me, it's like the disappointment is like twofold. At first, I did not expect this. I for sure imagined that he wouldn't agree to, just sit it out on the bench for this whole season and just collect money. Of course, from a monetary perspective, this is his best chance. He gets the loyalty bonus. He gets a huge bonus when he finally signs for us. The second thing is that I thought for sure if Kylian
Euros. I am the captain of the national team, and you're telling me that in the capital club will not play this guy. I find it's really difficult to believe, honestly. I really find it so difficult to believe. Something is gonna give, and I think the Parisians are gonna be made, they're gonna be made, to look comical. I think, honestly.
For fuck's sake. Okay, hold on, Farooq. Looks like the video is in play. For the guys, just looking at my internet, it does seem sketchy. But you're able to hear me well. It's just YouTube that's not playing. Oh, you're muted, by the way.
Let me just check on my phone as well.
Cool. It's out.
It's kind of breaking the audio. I have this.
Okay, never mind. Yes, I've got to apologize to everyone. But yeah, you wait. All of that came across, and so far, should we continue? Is it fine? It's back to breaking up. Oh, is it still very sketchy? Like, I'm not sure, man. Like,
It's your Jacob. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. I can see you well as well.
It's your internet.
It's definitely my internet, but I'm not sure like how to fix it or
Is there a chance to restart the router or something like that?
I don't think so. That would mean I'll have to like completely stop the stream, restart. Let's see. But yeah, let's continue. I feel like it's got back again. So, or is it still very sketchy? Okay, look at YouTube just once.
Yeah, I think it's fine now.
Cool. Let's continue then.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect, man. All right. What were we talking about? The Mbappe situation. So you really think they're gonna still play him
Yeah, the
for the
Mbappe thing.
rest of the situation, rest of the season, even if he stays?
I think he's gonna play because I think there's just too much at stake, and like the gravity that Kylian Mbappe literally carries right now in Paris is, I mean, I think someone said this. I can't recall who, but like right now, Kylian Mbappe is not a footballer. He's not a footballer right now. He's something else. Honestly, like when he leaves Paris, he's gonna have to come back to being a footballer. But right now, Kylian Mbappe is not a
Hmm.
footballer, whatever. But I think right now he's not a footballer, honestly. So because of that, I believe that he and his family know that there's too much at stake for France that they wouldn't allow this to happen.
Right.
And there's gonna be an Olympics in Paris. There's a Euros that's gonna happen just before that. Do you think the French government and the LFP and the FFP are gonna allow for this to happen? Kylian Mbappe to just sit on the bench and hold his hand for the next 10 months? Definitely not. Whether PSG likes it or not, they're playing in a country that has rules and regulations.
Hmm. So what you're
And
saying
like
is
also we're gonna come and
Kylian
start
has
dealing with people like
played the perfect
FIFA Pro as well.
3D move chess, and then he has all the cards. He's still
Exactly.
gonna get played. He's still gonna get paid. He's still gonna get the transfer at the end of the season.
I mean, when you do a checkmate in chess, and like people will just start thinking, okay, how can I not make this a checkmate? How can I not make this a checkmate? Like he's not just checking them; he's literally checking.
Man, I feel like the stream quality like is still very bad. How is it for you guys in the comments? It comes and goes, I feel. Oh well, you are muted, Farooq, by the way.
Sorry, I mean, why is it that I can see and hear you loud and clear? But I think streaming across YouTube has takes more bandwidth, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, Lololo says it's good enough for now. So yeah, let's continue. Hopefully, the internet catches up. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed.
Right then. So
I don't
Lololo
know, like, what do the
says,
guys in the comment think? Like, is there anything?
yeah, they're saying it's good enough for now. Farooq is you're laggy sometimes. Uh, Not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and he says, Jacob, you're good for now.
I mean,
So,
that's fine. I
mm,
mean, as long as it's okay.
yeah, it's not as bad as before. So yeah, let's continue. So we talked about Mbappe. He holds all the cards, but as Madridistas, we certainly have reason to be sad. Like the preseason did not look good. It was clear that we were missing a striker, and right now there is one more transfer rumor in the mill. So apparently we are looking into Kolo Muani, and we are joining his race, and that his agent is in contact with Real Madrid. So you've seen more of Kolo Muani, Farouk. You want to take the lead on this one? Do you think it's going to be a great signing? He's going to gel in well with Vinicius and Rodrigo? Or is it maybe you had this comment right in the season predictions? You said if Kylian Mbappe comes, he's going to be just a FIFA signing. He's going to be 90 rated and he's going to be the best forward in FIFA. But then you're not sure if they would actually sync well together. So who is Kolomo and is he going to sync well together with the rest of the front three?
I wouldn't, go too much to say like, I am the Colomani expert or shit like that. Like, I mean, I haven't seen too much Frankfurt, like we've seen it here and there and stuff like that. But the point is, like before I answer your question, the point is this: they're asking for around 100 million euros for Colomani.
Yeah.
Literally, Spurs agreed for about just 110, 120 million euros for Harry Kane. Why not go for that? This is a more sure in shoe. I mean, if there's anything that is like as sure as a striker is right now on the market, it's Harry Kane. I don't. Okay, Haaland obviously is the most surest thing, but you're not getting Haaland. Obviously, you know that. The next best thing is Harry Kane. So my question is like, is Kolomwani worth $100? Definitely not. 100% not. He is not worth 100 million euros. And the point is, we have seen with the Frankfurt guys in the past, we had do not want to go there. But if you ask me, like, is Colomwani gonna be able to fit with Vinicius and Kylian? Sorry, with Vinicius and Rodrigo. I do believe that he's gonna be able to fit there because why? Like he's gonna have to realize the fact that these guys are the Galacticos and he's the guy who has to make them work. Unlike the other, team that. But I feel like I don't know, but I read this that Colomwani was gonna go to Paris together with Gonzalo Ramos. I don't know if this is true or not, but that was what I was made to believe. Like that Colomwani and Gonzalo Ramos were gonna go together to Paris, and they're gonna replace Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi, and it's gonna be a whole different thing and something like that. I don't know where the whole Colomwani links come from, but I also think like it's too late in the window for this to start now, unless if Real Madrid has been stealthing us all around and doing this under behind the scenes that we did not have any idea about. But other than that, I do believe that I personally wouldn't go towards Colomwani now, but I do believe that he will actually he can work together with both Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo Goes. I believe that he's and also like he also has the speed also as well to have that counter attack that that's Carlo loves so much, just throw it over the top and let someone bring it down and give it to the next person and run as fast as you can. I mean, you can just as well hire Usain Bolt as well, and he can get the job done. Just run as fast as you want. So, but yeah, I mean, to answer your question in some way, I do believe that Colomwani is a player that I think will be able to gel well with both Vini and Rodrigo in the sense that he's a more of an out and out striker. I mean, and which is something that I think the team lacks. And for this kind of wingers, they need those kind of players to actually bring them into the play. So hence, I think Colomwani might be a good shout, but the point is the cost is just too much that I think it's not worth it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Lolo Lol has a good point. He says that Kolo Muani is a PSG target, so I think it's just a pressure move. But then Kolo would be great for us. He can actually play the number nine and the right wing position as well. And he says the only reason we don't sign Kane is because he's 31. But do you think if even if we do sign Kane right now, you think we can still get like a good 3, 4 years out of him at 100 million?
I think Kane gives you easy three. I think easy Kane gives you 3 4 years easy. Honestly, but the question now becomes like obviously because like we not a lot of English players travel well. So this is the question that you're gonna ask: like, will Kane be able to adapt to Spain? Not to Real Madrid itself. I believe that Kane will eventually get going at Real Madrid, but will they be able to adapt to Spain itself? Will his family be able to adapt to Spain? And also, if I'm not mistaken, like Kane and his wife are actually expecting a new child as well. So that
Hmm.
takes a lot of toll on the family as well. So that's the question: like, will they be able to travel well? But for me, I don't think his age is a problem, honestly, because the point is, unless you're thinking about, having a second, a player that has, a value on the market, which I know obviously because he's 31, he doesn't have. But I think, like buying Kane and, for 3 4 years, like if he gives you 1 2 UCLs, I think he's done his job.
Definitely, man. And another option that none of the news outlets are covering it. I don't think they're actually going for him, but a lot of fans seem to think that Dusan Vlahovic is also one answer because he's in a shitty UA squad. They don't play any European football, and Hassan certainly seems to think so. He says Dusan Vlahovic has the potential to score 30 to 35 goals. He's only 23 years old, and he's available for 70 mil.
Honestly, like I wouldn't think Vlahovic is a bad idea because I also think, like he's also, I mean, okay, Vlahovic is a very service oriented guy. This is something that let's not forget. Like he's a very, very, at least the limited I've seen of him, he's a very service oriented guy. You understand? So like he's not gonna give that what's it called? He's not gonna give that Benzema-esque, that whole, playmaking, being a 9.5, 10.5 kind of thing. That's not gonna be what you're gonna get with with Vlahovic. But on the other hand, I think he's gonna be that target man that players can run off of. To
Mm.
go with Mbappe's term, the pivot gang. He's gonna be that pivot that players can run behind. Players that can run around. So I think for Vinicius and Rodrigo, I think that's literally a Christmas has come early for those guys if they can have a player of that that has that much quality. And also the point is as we've Lolo has pointed out, like Vlahovic is someone that actually has that tendency to get, 20 goals, 25 goals easily. I think, yeah.
So wait, hold on. Are you saying you're not part of the pivot gang? You don't think we need a striker up front?
Of course, we need a pivot up front. This is why I said like signing Kylian Mbappe and playing them together with Rodrigo and Vinicius is FIFA stuff. You need a
Mm,
pivot, obviously, because this is the beginning of the whole. This was the beginning of the whole issue that Kylian Mbappe had with Paris. Where is my pivot? Where is my Olivier Giroud? This was the whole thing, and
okay,
we've seen this a lot. Like I mean, unless you go to Spain, who had the strikerless system, I don't think there's actually been. I can't remember, at least off the top of my head, like a team that actually went strikerless. You play very good football, but eventually when push comes to shove, like you just don't make it.
that's true, man. That 2009 Barca side and Spain seem to be the only guys who could actually get it right. For doing that, you need to
And
have
also,
a very prolific set of midfielders and Messi.
this is the thing. You need to have a very prolific set of midfielders. Not even prolific, like you need to have a very, very good, pattern of play. And well, I mean, you guys know my opinions about the whole pattern of play and what is,
Pattern
so
of
there's no
play.
need to keep
Mm.
rehashing them.
Maybe we'll rehash that once we get into the lineups and the formation for this game. But yeah, do you feel like we've discussed it in length about all of the transfers and the injuries we have heading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, the how is he gonna transit? How is he gonna, how is the adaptation gonna be? It's looking quite interesting, but let's see. At least he has for the next 2 3 months at least to see to try to prove himself that he's up to the task, at least before the UCL game starts. And I mean, at least until the real UCL game starts, which is the knockout ties.
Hmm.
So till then, he can try to prove himself or lack thereof, hopefully. But yeah, that's one of the sad things, because we are back in the same situation whereby the reason you bought Frank Garcia is to put pressure on Mendy, and then now and again Mendy is out, which means Frank Garcia is also the undisputed started, which means there is no pressure on him, and then he can slack whenever he wants to slack as well. You know, it's just the egg and the chicken dilemma, like which one comes before? Does the egg comes before the chicken or the chicken before the egg? So it's just the whole upside down thing. Now, I said it's looking to be a very interesting season this year, man. Honestly.
Hmm. And word is out that Carlo, okay, obviously we'll get into more of Carlo's quotes, but then he said Cruz and Modric both aren't going to start for the season premiere. And yeah, things certainly seem to be, we're definitely going to be shaking up our style of play. Or if we, I won't call it style of play, I'll just call it formation for now.
Yes, going to get it.
All right. Let's get into Athletic Bilbao a little bit. So they finished eighth last season, just as they have finished eighth in the last three of the last five seasons. So they're a team who always give us a hard time, but then in the end we somehow prevail and get the 3 points, or at least hold out for a draw. And the last time we actually lost to them was in way back in 2015. So we've had a lot of success against them, even though we dread them as opponents. They're very physical. They can actually outplay
Yeah,
us at certain
that's
moments.
that's the thing, like that's the thing, I think yeah, I think that's the thing with Bilbao, it's just those tricky opponents that eventually, like will almost never hurt you. Like, okay, they had a chance to hurt you, but they're always just playing on the, I don't know how to say, like, yeah, you go there with honestly, like, I mean, I think Barca has much more problem with Atletico Bilbao than we actually do, because as you rightly pointed out, we haven't lost to them since 2015. And honestly, like, it's always been a very tight game. You know, the games are always very very tight. Even the last game of the season, I remember we Benzema scored right in that game, and that was how we actually got out with a 1-1 draw, and stuff like that. So that's always it. Like, it's always going to be a tight game, but eventually we always find a way through. So, and the thing also is that Williams, he has 99 chances and he will miss 99 of them. He doesn't even score one. That's the thing. He has the chances, he miss all the chances. So this is just what Williams is as well. He's a very good player, but I mean, he needs to go to some finishing school. But then he's already old, so it's fine.
So
But
it's
away
fine.
from that, honestly, like yeah.
Oh
But
man.
it's just gonna be a quite a tense game, which is something that I expect tomorrow. But I do believe that we should find a way to prevail as well. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, just to like discuss what happened with last season. So we edged out Atletico narrowly because they couldn't get a win as well on the last game of the season. And in that game, how we considered a buttload of chances. Courtois was the man of the match. Just to like rub salt into the wounds, we're not gonna have Courtois again this time around. But the thing that stood out for me was like Vinicius and Rodrigo especially. He had a bunch of chances, same as what he had like in preseason. To be fair, these weren't like clear-cut chances. These were more of like half chances. But we still missed a striker. Even though Benzema was on the pitch, he wasn't really providing that outlet. He wasn't getting into the position. He just basically checked out for that game. And that pattern of play has continued to this season, and even into preseason. We have been creating those chances, but we have been getting dominated in the midfield. We have been conceding chances like crazy. Militao has been sketchy at best at certain times. Carvajal is Carvajal. Things haven't changed since last season, even though we have made a lot of signings. Do you actually feel like?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the thing. Like, I mean,
hmm, Go ahead, go ahead.
the question I would ask you is this, Jacob? Like, things haven't changed, but we have made a lot of signs.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I don't think so, man. Like, definitely no. But you knew that answer. You didn't even need to ask me.
So that's the thing. It's so that's the thing. It means that like although we've made the signings, the team is even arguably weaker than it was at the beginning of at the end of last year, at least at the end of last season. And obviously we know that like the whole Benzema departure is going to be a big problem there. That's the thing. Like the departure of Benzema is always going to be a big problem. So until and unless we find a way to replace Karim Benzema, like this is just gonna continue happening. Honestly, this is just gonna continue happening, and yeah, obviously the thing is, strikers, attackers, they're people that build on confidence. We just need Rodrigo and Vinicius to start putting 1-2 in, and before you know it, like they start to score more and more. You understand? So I don't think that should be a big issue. But the point is that unless you're expecting Vinicius to go to Haaland level goal scoring, Lewandowski level goal scoring, this is going to be a problem because already Vinicius has around 50 goals assist contribution. Rodrigo last year had 30 goal assist contribution. You understand? So okay, yeah, we know Rodrigo can take that next step. Vinicius can take that next step. But are you expecting honestly a 60, 70 goal contribution from these guys? At least I am not expecting that. I don't know if there's someone else that has a better expectation, but I'm not expecting Vinicius to give me 60, 70 goals contribution. No,
I mean, I
that's
think the
just it.
okay. So Carlo did say that I'm not sure if this is true, but then the idea is that they're gonna be playing Vinicius way more centrally this season. So he's gonna be more clinical and he's gonna be, let's say, a goal scoring forward. Uh, we talked about it, I think, even in the preview that that's probably not his like strength. Uh, we probably shouldn't break what's already working well for us in terms of Vinicius. And we actually think once he gets into the position, once the team actually feeds him, he can get maybe 40 goals a season. Just not I'm not counting assists, just goals scored, 40 goals. Is that possible?
Wow, that's a very high one, man. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think the ceiling is 30 goals. Honestly, I do believe the ceiling is 30 goals.
Hmm.
I mean, 40 is a huge ask, man. 40 is a huge ask. I mean, even if he score, even if you give him PKs and all that, still think 40 is a huge ask. Because the point I want to make here is that when you see 40 goals in a season, even when we were watching, like we used to, like when we were much more younger and watch strikers, I don't think even the likes of the Raúls actually were having 40 goal seasons.
Yeah,
Like
man.
30, 35, those were the standards, you understand? We got spoiled with the presence of Cristiano and Messi, obviously, and then we also got lucky to also see fantastic strikers, like the likes of Robert Lewandowski, Luis Suarez, Karim Benzema. We also got lucky to see those as well. But the point is, when you go and even look at the prime Fernando Torres, the Didier Drogbas, like they weren't scoring 40, 50 goals a season. They were scoring 30, 35, whatever that is, you understand? So
Hmm.
asking Vinicius, a winger, to actually, break the barrier of 40. I think that might be too much and it might be a bit unfair. I personally don't see that honestly, and I don't even expect him to, to give me those numbers, honestly. So that's, man, 40 is too much. I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
right? I mean,
But
Rodrigo
the
can
point is
pick
this,
up
Jacob,
that
like, do you see
as
Vini centrally though? Do you see Vini centrally though?
I don't see
Like,
how
it
we
looks
have.
so weird to me. I don't know.
I don't see how we have an option, man. If let's say no other striker comes, he's gonna be playing centrally. Like who else is gonna be playing there?
Winger in the world. He's not even arguably the best left winger. He's the best left winger in the world. Like, so why would you play the best left? I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you have the best left winger. Why do you want to turn him into a striker?
I I feel like at that point, it's just that we're trying to shoehorn Bellingham into the lineup, and that leaves us with just two strikers, striker positions. And if Rodrigo plays centrally and Vinny plays a bit more on the left, then that leaves the right wing spot like totally unoccupied. Is that even possible? I'm not sure. So uh, I'm
I
very
mean, that's the thing. That's the thing right now. So what what I believe is this, Jacob. Like, forget about the formation and what is on paper and what is not there. These people will get on the field and they have to figure it out themselves. You understand? So the fact that you're having four midfielders on paper does not necessarily mean you have to be Vini and Rodrigo have to be two central strikers like a 4-4-2 esque system, something like that. I
mm,
don't think that's on paper. But I think on the pitch we're gonna see something much more different.
like a 4-2-3-1 because Valverde is playing. He's gonna take up the right wing.
Actually understand how this thing is going to pan out. Because the thing is, again, if we don't get Kylian Mbappe, then it means, we just have to keep going and, trying to make magic happen somewhere. So we just have to see how this thing pans out with the guys, honestly.
Mm,
Just watch a couple of games throughout the season, first few games, 10, 15 games, then we'll at least get an idea of what this team is going to look like. Based on that, it's going to make more sense to, make some what to expect for the season, what are, the handicaps, what are the what's it called? What are the expectations? Like, okay, are you thinking like, okay, Vini can go to the next level, hit the 40 goals as you're saying, or like, who knows, maybe it's going to be a breakout season for Rodrigo, because I expect that to happen, honestly. I think Rodrigo should be hitting that, also 40, 50 goals, assistant goal combination this season.
right. Ashik has a point. He says, please let's just play a 2-1-3-4 formation. Forget the defense and just pile it on. At this point, what do we have to lose?
I mean, at the point is, as you said, at this point, do we even have defense in the first place? So whatever comes should just come, man. We can just have a body of 11 players, man. So it's fine.
Hmm.
Just throw in 11 players on the pitch and let them do what they want to do. I mean, in the meantime, you can also throw Kamavinga in the post, just give him the gloves, and he will do what he can do, and let the other 10 players do what they can do as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
I keep saying this season has the potential to be a very interesting season, in the sense that it's going to be the weirdest season that we've ever seen. I don't know, honestly.
You think we're gonna see like transfer rumors throughout the season when things don't like?
Because the point is this: if the club is going without a striker, I believe that most likely what they're saying is that, okay, we're gonna just stay competitive this season, but we don't have huge expectations. Which means
Hmm.
that as long as Carlo remains, close to Barcelona, which I believe easily he should be able to achieve, because last year the only reason Barcelona were outrageous was their defense, which I reiterate they cannot just maintain. They cannot maintain.
Yeah.
So
Right.
because of this, I genuinely do believe that, Carlo will maintain that. He will maintain the pace in La Liga. He will stay with the pack. In the Champions League, I do believe a quarterfinal, a semi-final is a good shout out. Honestly, if we don't get a striker, with the way our team is. So because of that, I do feel like, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You easily can get into the round of 16 in the Champions League, barring something catastrophic. We should get easily into the round of 16 unless we have a very difficult group. I mean, that's also luck. After the round of 16, it's just two games and you don't know who you're going to come up against or what is. So what I'm saying is that there are some things that are achievable for Carlo, you understand? So
Hmm.
being in the last eight, being, close to Barcelona and Atleti in the league, I mean, these are things that are easily achievable. So because of that, I think like uh, the season is not going to be like, like, oh, we're in crisis, this and that. I don't think that's going to happen, honestly. But I just think like, okay, the high standards that Real Madrid have held themselves to, like it's just gonna be, a disappointment from that. But away from that, like we're gonna be competitive still.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell, but yeah. Before we head down into, predicting our lineups for this game, let's talk a bit more about Athletic Club signings and their outlook for the season. So they haven't had any good signings. They haven't brought in another centre back to replace Inigo Martinez, who has
Yep,
since
huge
gone to
loss.
Barca. It's a huge loss, and they haven't been able to replace him. All of their players are a year older. The only good thing, redeeming thing from their transfer window is that they were able to keep both of the Williams saying his name out regularly. Uh, but apparently, like even against Man United, these guys were uh, playing these old ass players, and it's a basic squad they've had going on since the last 5 years. All of the same players are playing.
Yep.
Nobody likes to leave. It's a very tight-knit squad. It's almost like family. And just considering all of that and the fact that they've finished eighth in La Liga consistently, you think it's going to be looking the same for them this season as well, or is this a season they finally like fall off a bit and then they have to bring some new people in?
Yeah, I think eventually, they have this limits that they set for themselves that they only want players from the Basque country, which limits the pool of players that they can eventually, it leads to losses. So it's not easy. Why I do believe that this season the loss of Martinez, I don't know, how well Valverde is planning for that, because let's not forget, like, Ernesto Valverde is one of the most astute tacticians in the league as well. So because of that, he will have some things off of the sleeve as well to be able to counter for that. But I believe, with the other teams that are there, the Real Betis, the Villarreal's, even though Emery has left, and the Sevillas and all that. So we I will still expect them to have a similar finish of seventh, eighth, ninth, as they had the previous year as well. So because I just don't see them out jumping the Sociedad, or or the Real Betis.
Mm. Yeah, man, and they're still playing Iker Muniain in like their biggest games, who we know
Yeah, exactly,
can't run.
exactly.
But they still managed to get a 1-1 draw against Man United. Take from that what you will.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I guess that pretty much covers it. And then I'm expecting a very similar formation to how they lined up against Man United, which is the Iñaki brothers up front, Iker Muniain, um, the new signing Galareta in the midfield, and then Sunset heading the midfield line. And it's just gonna they just have a
Yeah.
one set of starting centre backs and full backs. They don't have anyone else replacing them. Yuri Barcic is actually injured. He got injured against us in the last game of last season, if you remember. But then he hasn't recovered yet, so he's gonna be a loss for them at right back. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a player to watch out for would be Ohian Sanchez, because I remember last season he had a breakout season, honestly. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he might be one person because he has this knack of getting goals from the midfield as well. So, Iñaki Williams is going to run our defense ragged, but we should be able to feel, that engine in the middle of the park. So, yeah, hopefully I believe it's going to be an interesting game because, Bilbao never disappoints, at least throughout the games that I have seen across my time as a fan. Bilbao
Mm.
never disappoints. So, like, we're in for a very interesting game.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's gonna be interesting, and we're definitely gonna keep conceding goals. Like that was the theme of all of the previous last season. We were always predicting 2-1s or 1-1s. And I feel like this game it's gonna continue because we still haven't figured out how to not leak goals at the back. But yeah, before we head into the lineups, I'd like to talk about one more important news that came out today. So did you take a look at the third kit? Your thoughts? Personally, I feel like it's very classy. Like Sunil was also mentioning, like the gold lettering on the black kit. It's always been a personal favorite of mine.
Actually, for me this season, for some reason, I actually haven't found a kit that I actually, find myself comfortable with. I don't know if there is this. I believe you saw the warm-up kits, the one that had the orange stripes and something like that on it.
Hmm.
I think they hired someone different to design that because the guy, whoever came up with the designs of the jersey and the guy who came up with those cannot be the same person. Because I feel like that was something so lovely, and actually I plan to buy one of those. Well, all three kits I've seen, honestly, like even I saw the a black one earlier today as well, but I just felt like okay, like what is here, like I don't know. At least for me, like they all I just don't see feel them all of them.
Hmm. I mean,
However, like I said, like that warm up I think it's a warm up, not a training kit. I think that's really, really, I think that's a really good one. Honestly, I hope you know the one I'm talking about.
yeah, I've seen it in preseason as well.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Are you looking forward to buying any of the kits? Which one is your
I'm gonna
favorite?
be buy. So here's why I'm gonna buy the third kit. It's a very classic kit. Like there's not a lot of like extravagant designs going on. So personally, I can like wear it outside and not have people stare at me, looking at me like I'm a weirdo. Uh, I can't say the same for like the other kits that we had in the seasons past. So do you remember when we had the pink stripes? Was the completely pink jersey like a third kit or a second kit?
Yep, yep. I remember the BBC era.
Oh yeah, like that was bad, man. Like, that was the only kit that I like wouldn't wear outside, but yeah. I'm just glad I have something
But
classy
I
and
mean, I remember
simple.
like that kit. I think I remember was very nice on Isco, man. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think that kit was a kit that fitted Isco a lot, actually.
Hmm.
I think what year was that? Can you remember what year was that? I can't remember what year it was, honestly. But I do
See,
remember we had the BBC Isco was here. I'm not sure if James was there as well. I can't recall.
was it that late? No.
But I do.
I remember it more recently, maybe even like Zidane's recent stint, but I'm not sure.
I see. Let
Yeah,
me
man.
just quickly check that. Real Madrid pink kit.
Yeah. While you check that, let's just get right into it with our predicted formations
We had
because
that in the 2021 season actually.
so with Zidane, and then at least we were able to win La Liga, I guess, with the pink kit. So if that's what it takes, I'll accept it,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, let's see if we have luck with the black one. Uh,
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
all right, you want to get into the lineups? It's gonna be pretty simple. We have a bunch of missing people with injuries, and Anthony hasn't like hidden his intentions for the formation, so it's gonna be a quick one.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like unless Carlo, shoots something unexpected, which he normally doesn't. So we're gonna have Lunin in goal. I mean, unless they decide to play Kamavinga in goal as well. So let's not be surprised about that. Well, we have Lunin in goal. So, and I mean, I don't know how it's gonna be, but I'm expecting. Although, like you guys told me that Rudiger and Alaba actually were the better pair in the preseason, but I'm expecting to see Alaba and Militao. Well, I don't know what
Yes,
you think about that. And
I I think it's gonna be Militao and Alaba as well. Like Carlo clearly feels like he has to give the guys who have more stability, like this initial, at least the first start of the season. Maybe if it doesn't go well for a string of games, then I feel like Rudiger can like step it up.
hmm, I see. Oh, that's actually a good shout. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Yeah, so I think that's set then. Rudiger, sorry, Alaba and Militao for the centre back pairing, and obviously for the fullbacks, they almost automatically select themselves. Because Fran Garcia is the only available fullback since Mendy decided to not show up again. And then we have Carval on the other side, with the Lord on the bench to come up when necessary. And I think in the middle of the park, since as you were saying earlier, like Carlos said, the veterans are gonna be rested, so it's just gonna be Camavinga, Chouameni, Valverde, and the new signing, Jude Bellingham, I assume.
Yep, we're gonna stick
And
with the
up top, we
diamond.
have just
And
exactly. We're gonna stick with the diamond, or at least what looks like a diamond. And up top, we're gonna have well, I think I don't know. Before we go up top, though, like a diamond, though, do you think a diamond with Chouameni as a single pivot works, though?
I'll tell you this: we looked way more secure at the back with Xiaomeni than with Cruz there.
No, but the point is, if you're playing four midfielders, why don't you play a double pivot then?
That's the thing, man. Okay, on paper, like you said, it looked like a diamond. But then in the last preseason game, it actually looked like Camavinga and Tchouaméni or Camavinga and Cruz. They were playing a double pivot, and
Double pivotal.
Valverde or Camavinga
Yeah.
would go really on the right hand side of the pitch and then almost play like an ancillary right winger.
I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and then eventually, we go to the forward line. We have just, I don't know. We have a couple of options actually because we have Brian
Yeah.
Diaz and Joselo as well. But so I believe we're gonna start with Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo Goes, and as time wears on, hopefully we're gonna have a substitution of a midfielder, and the bringing on of Joselo hopefully, and
Mm.
he can potentially unlock our two wingers.
Two wingers, yeah. To be honest,
Imagine Joselu to unlock him.
so let's say we're gonna scrap the diamond. Do you feel like Rodrigo is gonna keep his position centrally because we're not gonna sign another striker? Is he gonna go back to his right wing position or is he gonna stay centrally?
I think he should. I think Rodrigo is going to remain centrally. I'm not sure. Honestly, just depends on how it want to go. But one thing I would say is this. I don't know if you're aware of the whole Maxim Choupo-Moting thing at Bayern Munich,
Wait,
whereby
what?
Bayern, where like there is a player Maxim Choupo-Moting, right? Eric
Yeah,
Maxim
yeah, yeah.
Choupo-Moting at
I saw
Bayern
him in
Munich.
the Champions League, but then yeah, what's up with him?
Okay, so there was this actual thing that was happening with Bayern Munich was that Choupo-Moting was bought just to be a sub striker, similar to the way Joselu was bought.
Hmm.
But after Lewandowski left and they made the gamble on money that failed, Choupo-Moting actually became when Choupo-Moting was playing, the team actually played better with Maxim Choupo-Moting. And when you look at the build of Choupo-Moting and the build of Joselu, they're very similar in the sense that they're tall, lanky strikers.
Yeah.
You understand? And they're both journeymen who have played for teams in relegation, comeback, and shit like that. You understand? So it will be quite funny to see that the introduction of Joselu is actually what unlocks our attack. I don't know if that will be what happens, but I mean, this is a possibility that we should, also keep at the back of our mind. Actually, it's a very stupid thing to think, honestly, considering where we have been and where we are right now. But I
Mm.
mean, let's not be surprised about that because the thing is that I said, like that, just the presence of a pivot, it's not because like Joselu is a world beater or anything. Even if you put a 7 foot pole there, he's gonna also unlock our attackers. You understand? So this is something no. So like this might be something that we might want to watch out for as well, especially when Joselu comes on. If a midfielder is removed for his place, not an attacker. So because if a midfielder is removed for him, it goes back to the flat 4-4-3 we know with Joselu through the middle and Vinicius and Rodrigo on each side. So that way you'll be able to monitor how they play or how they don't play. Well, it's something intriguing that we just have to see how that also pans out eventually.
Mm. Okay, so Rajat has an interesting proposition. You said we can start with the diamond with four midfielders at the start, and if it doesn't work out, we're gonna go back to a 4-3-3. But which of the midfielders should we actually replace? Should we actually bring off Bellingham, or would you have us replace someone like Kamavinga, and then Bellingham slots into the three part of midfield as a box to box midfielder?
That's a very tough question, honestly, because if you're moving a midfielder, then it means you're gonna play a flat 4-3-3. The point is, honestly, like I believe that since you've spent 100 million on this guy, you're not gonna bring him off. I think it's gonna be between Kamavinga and Fufede Valverde. These are the two people they're gonna bring off because they spent a lot of money on both Chouameni and what's it called and Bellingham. So I believe that they want to give them all the chance possible. So I think the two candidates is between Kamavinga and Fede Valverde, honestly. And don't ask me who I'm gonna take off because honest to God, I also don't know. I'll just flip a coin and whoever names comes, I'm gonna take them off. I mean, if you ask me personally, who do I want to take off? I would choose to take off actually Chouameni and put
Oh,
what's it called? And put Kamavinga as a hold. Put
right.
Kamavinga as a hold and Fede and Bellingham flanking him on both sides. Obviously, like again, I repeat myself, the holding of a Real Madrid, at least right now, we don't have a holding midfielder. It has to be a team effort, either a double hold or whatever. But on paper, at least, it will like Kamavinga is a holding number 6, and then uh, Fede and Bellingham together with him. Well, I don't know. It most likely seems like people are. buying the hype of Chouameni, although I believe that he hasn't done anything to at least get my own hype. I believe
Hmm.
that Fede and Kama have done much more, in my opinion. So, well, yeah, as I said, most likely it's going to be Kamavinga or Fede Valverde that's going to go off, and it's going to be a flat midfield three.
Yeah, man. At that point, Rodrigo's gonna slot back at right. And for me, like personally, if Valverde is actually ghosting that game when we actually don't need that much defense, we just instead want to go all out attack, then I feel like he should be brought off at that point and having Tchouaméni, Camavinga, they have been at least in preseason and they've been combining really well. Tchouaméni wins a lot of balls, he can start a lot of counterattacks, and Camavinga just being an option in midfield is like so crucial for our midfield to progress about. And then yeah, I feel like I would bring off Valverde to be honest when we need a goal.
Yeah, actually, it makes that, as I said, that's the thing. Like, it's just down to who are you gonna select between the two. Honestly, I don't know, but
Mm.
let's see how it goes. But because it's quite interesting that when we want a goal, you're gonna bring out the only midfielder that actually scored more than 10 goals.
That
You
is
know,
very true, man. And
I mean, this
even
is the
in
thing.
preseason, he
Honestly,
scored a
like,
couple of goals. He was the only midfielder, I believe, to score goals.
so that's the thing. As I told you, like, as fans, I don't know why, but we actually just built that way to look towards Camavinga and Fede Valverde. Why Chouameni and Bellingham just stay there because obviously they're more shiny toys. But then it's fine, that's just the thing. It's a market of who is the most priciest player or who is the most shiny player, honestly. But yeah, I can understand that. I feel like this is also what I expect to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Either Camavinga or Fede Valverde goes off. So it's
Mm.
it's 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 what I actually totally expect to happen.
Yeah, man. And okay, I guess we have our lineups then. But before we go, I actually had a issue with the right back position. So I feel like, especially in preseason, having Lucas Vasquez on there, especially when Joselu or Bellingham were getting right into the box, uh, it worked so much better than just having Carvajal. Because at that point, like right now, the defensive ceiling of these two players are pretty much the same. They still might get do a decent job, but if there's a really fast winger, they're still gonna get beaten every single time. And just the improvement in attack that we saw from Lucas Vasquez, his deliveries were very spot on. He should have actually gotten at least a couple of assists more in the Man United game because Joselu missed a few setters. So yeah, that he would actually be my starting right back for the season, just for the initial set of games. But yeah, we know how Carlo Ancelotti is attached to Carvajal.
I totally get what you're saying, but honestly, like I feel like this is a very, very typical Lord Vasquez thing. Today his crosses are totally spot on. Tomorrow he keeps crossing and he becomes. I don't know if you saw the Nigeria England game. Like Nigeria was crossing and crossing, and like they reminded me of Moises United. There was a game that Moise played against West Ham when he was a coach of United, and they had 51 attempted crosses in a game.
Wow. Okay.
So like that's actually similar to what's happening with Lucas Vasquez. Today he's, prime Beckham, the next day he becomes, I don't know what, he becomes Moises United again. So honestly, like while I understand what you're saying, I think I have seen a lot of Vasquez blow hot and cold for me to say, yeah, like whatever. But the point is, I will go with what you're saying. I totally would accept what you're saying in the sense that I want to see more of Lucas Vasquez because I totally agree with you that I honestly believe that right now, like everything being equal, I think the defensive ceiling of Carvajal, okay, let's not say ceiling, but because ceiling is a wrong word, but rather the defensive.
Defensive performance we get out of them.
So the defensive performance we get out of Carvajal on a very random weekend is almost similar to what we get out of Lucas Vasquez as well. However, we have seen that Carvajal has this ability to step up when it matters the most. But the
Mm.
point is, the man is old. If he's already playing 20, 25 games, 30 games before you come to that point, he cannot step up as much as he want to. So what I'm saying is that when you're going to play the random games here and there, playing with Lucas Vasquez will totally make a lot of sense. And then Carvajal that week will be a bit more refreshed, a bit more fresher, a bit more energetic, and be able
Yeah.
to step up when it matters the most. Honestly. So in this sense, I totally, will go with you as well.
Yeah, man, like it's gonna be inevitable. Like if you're gonna be sticking with Carvajal for majority of the games, he's still gonna get injured like last season, gonna go missing, and then Vasquez has to step in anyways. So I would say like if Carlo can figure it out, like he should probably split the minutes between them. But yeah,
That's the thing, like if he can, but I mean, the thing is that we know, but then also like right now I feel like we have a very, small squad as well. Right now we don't have too much players, if I'm not mistaken, or do we? I mean, in the middle of the park is the
we
only
are
place
very,
where we have too many players.
that's true,
Other than
and
that, when you look all
we
over the
lost to
team, like
Vallejo
we
as
don't have
well at centre back.
exactly. So like when you look at that, like I mean, we have three center backs. We have Fran Garcia, and then we have what's he called, Carval and Lucas Vasquez, because Mendy is, persona non grata, like he plays when he wants to play. So let's not include him in that list. So we go, up top, and you have just, Vinicius and Rodrigo, and also Brahim and Joselu. So that's all. So that's really, I feel like we have a very, on other than the midfield, we have a very compact squad. So uh, just like Carlo likes, he also is a coach has been known to use just 14, 15 players throughout the season, So I think maybe this might work, in his favor as well. Like when he doesn't have too much players, like we had in the past week, what's it called? With Hazard, you had Mariano, people that were literally not, even Vallejo to some extent as well,
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the thing. Just the midfield is where it's going to be quite interesting to see how they, navigate everything with also the renewal of Dani Ceballos and what is not. Obviously, he's injured right now, but he's going to come back to full fitness. So I will be interested to see how Carlo masterminds that, because if there's anything we know that one of his best abilities, the ability to manage the dressing room. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
I I mean, I don't think there's a lot of management to be happening because, of course, the two veterans in our midfield, they will probably understand if Carlo decides to not play them in majority of the games, especially in the smaller games where the young players can try to step up and learn more from them. And then they just come on from the bench and try to fix things.
Yeah, that's actually a very valid point as well. That's a very valid point.
All right.
Let's see how it goes, man. As I say, like, we just have to wait for the to see a couple of as the season pans out, 5, 10 games, and then we can see what to expect with the whole season or like there.
Exactly. All right. I guess that concludes our lineups. Let's go right into the predictions, unless you have something else.
Oh, predictions. I would say a 1-1 draw, because I think like Bilbao cannot score eventually. I mean, if you're relying on Iñaki Williams, he just cannot score for the. I mean, to save his life, he cannot score.
Yeah.
You know, honestly. So I don't know how it's gonna be. I want to lean towards a 2-1 Real Madrid victory, honestly, but I'm not just too sure about that, really, because I don't know what the defensive lineup will, look like. Because I mean, we know what it will look like, but I mean, like, I don't know how the performance will look like. With
Mm.
Fran Garcia also coming in, and Militao is not at his best. Honestly, like that's just the truth. So how is it gonna eventually pan out? I'm not too sure. Anyways, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 victory. Like we concede, but we score two more than they do.
2-1. So you're saying who's gonna back the goals then? Is it gonna be Vinny? Bellingham?
Of course, Vinicius one, Rodrigo one,
Oh, okay.
and we open the chapter. But
The two
honestly, I'm really
strikers.
looking forward, to that to that explosion of Rodrigo this year. Honestly, although like I do believe that sometime down the line, a very difficult discussion has to be had about one of the strikers if Mbappe does eventually join. But I do look towards the explosion of Rodrigo this year, especially in front of goal and goal contribution. So goal and assist wise, I really look forward to seeing that.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just gonna be optimistic for this first game of the season. Just say we're not gonna concede goals. It's gonna be a 2-0 for me. And Bellingham's gonna get his first goal to open the La Liga
Did you say
scoring.
optimistic and said 2-0?
Yeah, man, like that's what you can expect out of this squad. Like
I
that is
mean,
very optimistic.
how is that optimistic? Holy God.
Come on, man. Like I'm not gonna say 3-0. Like that's not gonna happen. Like we know we have scoring issues. Faruk, you have to like think about this as like incremental improvements. I did not say that we would concede. Like that's a huge win.
Okay, I mean, whatever you're smoking, man, just send me a pack of it, man. I want to be on your same level of optimism, man. I need this kind of optimism in my life, man, honestly.
Um, right. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. You have our predictions. Let me see if we have something in the chat. Um, yeah, nothing. It's just Ashin Varghese, Rajat, Ashik. You guys have all Lola Lol, Tasaliba, Hassan. You've all been loyal listeners for the last season, and then you showed up here as well. Always, even when the going has gotten tough in La Liga, and even when the games didn't matter. So really, a bunch of gratitude to all of you guys who show up and then keep us motivated. On that note, guys, please hit the like button to help this video out. We're going to be heading into the new season. Let's go hit the YouTube algorithm, get our 2K in as fast as possible, 2K subscribers. And if you actually don't know any friend, if you know any friends who haven't subscribed to our channel, just get on their phones, ask them to subscribe. Even if they don't watch it, just a subscription might help us. And yeah, alongside that, if you are catching this on Spotify, we're on all the audio channels, and as well, we're on YouTube. Do check out our Instagram and our Instagram partners at Real Madrid Committee for some awesome Instagram content. We put out stories, and right now, Farouk, we even have an insider at the Bernabeu to give us hot news that no other, even Fabrizio would not be privy to.
Yep. That's true, guys. You heard it's live and direct, so it's always gonna be let's be real. Here we go.
Exactly. All right, folks. On that note, all the best to you for like a wonderful season ahead. Let's hope things just pan out. You know what to say, Farooq?
Hala Madrid!
Hala Madrid.